Welcome back to Shem's Universe. So today, guys, we're going to go over why your name can actually make you rich. So there's a lot of misconception around the name number when it comes to, like, if it's your expression number, when we look at Western numerology, if it's your name that you go by, look at Eastern numerology. We have other numerologists looking more so at gematria. And the key is you have to decide for yourself, like, what kind of ideology you want to follow. For me in particular, I prefer the Chaldean way of doing things, where in which you have a full name that you currently have on your ID, and that would be what we call the life theme number. And then you would have the name that you go by the most. I mean, what do people call you? Is it John, Sarah, whatever, Sam? What do people actually call you? Is it a short abbreviation of your name? Is it your full first name? Is it a nickname? All of those things matter a lot. And when you can sort of internalize that and understand it, you then will realize how you can sort of transmute that to a said career. The reason I say that is this. For one, your life theme number, meaning in Chaldean, the number that you have is very similar to your expression number because it's going to say the full name. The difference between the Chaldean one, why it gets confusing, is because in Pythagorean numerology, it's the name that's on your birth certificate. Whereas in Chaldean, they're going to ask you, what's your full name right now, like on your ID? And then that name will transpire into what like your life theme will be like. So that's like the most influential number across your numerology chart. They would even argue more than your life path itself, right? Your name's vibration. So studying that, you then will realize that, okay, I have a certain life theme number that's going to talk about things that I'm naturally good at, very similar to your expression number, and then things that might hold me back are situations that might, because it even talks about fatalistic things in the life theme number. So that's good. So you can use these things to your advantage, meaning you can use the name number that you go by to understand what is it that I'm naturally attracting? What is it that this number is known for? What subtopics can I get into that's going to sort of I'd say charge up the number, for lack of a better word, meaning give the number more semblance, more power, more energy. All of these things matter a lot. So if you're able to do that, you're then going to start realizing, okay, I can use the name, meaning whatever name it equates to, and use that number to bring forth a better career. But you also have to look at what the compound number is before it, meaning let's say you're an 8 for a name number, but you have a 17 over 8. Cool. That means that you're going to be better suited for independent business in comparison to somebody that has maybe a 35 or a 26 over 8. They can do 26 creative arts and then partnership. 35 can do group orientation or even work within a company and do good like that as well. So you have to now look at what's the compound equate to, and then how can I use that to sort of evaluate what my career should entail. Because that's what this whole idea of a name number, no matter what numerology you follow, is supposed to be about. Is no matter how you calculate your name number, once you calculate it, you then got to take in, how does this tie into a career? Does it tie into a career in a sense of maybe if you're like, let's say you're an expression number or a name number 5 and you're a life path 8, that would definitely mean that you're supposed to be chasing after freedom. Like you're supposed to be somebody who's going after a lot of movement, mobility in your job. You're somebody who's supposed to be looking at maybe communication-based occupations or something to do with speculative marketing or just data or pattern recognition. So all of those things will equate to one another, but you have to see how it's going to interlap with your life path number. Let's say if you're a life path number 3 and then an expression number 8, that would mean that as a 3, you're supposed to be creative. Your life is going to transpire where you're going to have certain creative abilities. Either it's going to be through writing, singing, dancing, any of the 64 arts. It's going to be something surrounding that. But the 8 wants you to sort of turn your skill set into a business, and then that business might be what gets you famous. So you have to see how these things interlap. This is why everybody has like their own fingerprint when it comes to a chart, because different connections between the numbers can bring forth different results. So even though somebody's a life path 1 or an 8 or a 9 or an 11, it's going to be different from everybody else that has those same numbers because their name number might be something different. It's not only that their name number might be just a 1 digit different, it could be the compound of it. So somebody could have an expression number 9, but one person's a 27, one person's an 18. Completely different definition in what you're supposed to do. So I'd argue that To simplify it, I would say look at Pythagorean first, because it's the easiest one to sort of see a lot of results on online, particularly. And then also, it's easier to just define it in comparison with Chaldean, where you're going to start getting a whole bunch of different definitions with the compound. But I believe personally the Chaldean's going to give you a more clear-cut view of what you're supposed to be doing in a more direct way in comparison to Pythagorean, which is going to be a little bit more, not glazed, but just like, it's just going to glaze over the surface of what you're supposed to do. It's not going to give you exact details or exact examples in that sense. So that's the thing, is it's your choice of what type of numerology you want to use. But no matter what type, whether it be Kabbalion, Jyotish, Chaldean, Chiron, Pythagorean, they all revolve around the same subject matter of, like, no matter how you calculate your name has a lot to do with what you're supposed to be doing status-wise for a career. So you can use this to get very rich, which is the second half of this video. You have to use the name vibration and focus on that primarily. You need to focus on the strengths of your name and then focus on the weaknesses of your name. So I'll go through a few of these just to give you guys an example. Like, let's say you have a name number compound of 1. I'm not going to go through all the compound variations, but if you have 1, it means you're going to be quite stubborn, have leadership capability, be very innovative, be very headstrong. But that can also be a weakness for you if you're overly stubborn, overly fixated on the wrong topic. So you have to be open to different opinions based on the competence of the people around you. If you're a 2, you might be oversensitive, or an 11, you might be oversensitive, but you have a lot of psychic clairvoyance, which makes you very good for interpersonal dynamics in the medical field, healing other people, creative pursuits, any of that stuff. 3s, same sort of thing. You guys are very group oriented. Anybody who has a compound number of 3 within their expression number, name number, what have you, they're going to be very good for creative endeavors, very good for independent endeavors when it comes to like doing business by yourself. And it might not be suited for a 9-to-5 role necessarily, very similar to the number 1. You guys are meant to expand. So if you're in a job, there's certain 3s that can do it, like the 21, the 30. They both have a little bit of a corporate structure to them where they can actually do very well in a corporate situation. But the other variations of 3 very rarely do, right? So like I said, the compound versions are going to matter a lot. But with 3 overall, you have to look at what the strengths of it is and then what the weaknesses of it is. So for the 3s, usually the weakness is consistency, discipline. You guys are very creative, but you have to be consistent with the creativity you have. With 4s, usually you guys underestimate yourselves. You're very structured, organized, just have more confidence. 5s have consistency just like the 3, but there's so many different variations with the 5. You guys have a lot of good luck, so you should just use that to your advantage. If you don't, you'll accrue a lot of karmic debt on yourself. The number 6 is very good for like real estate, litigations, law, music, artistic abilities, medical field as well. So again, you guys have to look at, what is my name number? How does it interconnect with my life path? And what can I use to sort of bring these two together? With the 6 is pretty compatible with most life path numbers, so it makes it nice and easy for you. Number 7 is a harder name number to have, I would say. But if you have a number 7 there, what I would say is be very, very careful with business in general, just because it makes you appear almost isolated or almost hostile towards people when it comes to business. You want to be very, very careful of that. If you're going to use the 7, I would say use it for independent business primarily, and watch out for turning yourself into an island, in a sense of like isolating yourself from other people and then losing different connections you could have gotten. If you have a name number 7, it's associated with a very social number like 3 or 6, I'd say literally go to a numerologist for a name change, or at least go by a different name. Most of you are using Chaldean numerology, so make people call you something else, so you attract some different energy, especially if you want to earn more money. For number 8, it's pretty good, but it can be very karmic. So if you're somebody who's doing things maybe on the wrong side of the law, don't use 8 or 4 at all. It'll completely screw you over, get you caught, put in jail for sure. But it's very good for business or politics or sports. So if you're into any of those things and you have an expression number 8, name number 8, the eastern side of it, you can do very, very well in those sort of occupations and dominate, depending, of course, upon your life path again. Number 9, same sort of thing. Very robust, ideological, very strong personality it will give you, but it has a lot of different variations that can mean different things. Some of them for creative arts, some of them for business commanding numbers, some of them for independent business, entrepreneurship, some even for scientists, right? So it really depends, again, on what variation of the 9 you have, and then more importantly, how it's going to interconnect with your life path and how to bring them both together. All right, so I hope this does give you guys some sort of understanding of how to use your name to a better extent. But like I said, it depends a lot on what type of numerology you're using. But no matter what, your name is the answer to your life path. And when you realize that, that's when you start realizing, okay, this is how I can get rich, or at least get a lot of money, or hit certain ideals or goals with it. So you got to figure out what your name number is, what type of numerology you're going to follow, and then stay consistent with that, and then start implementing different strategies based off the data that you've got. It's really as simple as that, guys. If you have any questions for me, just leave them in the comments section. That's it for this video, guys. I'll be back tomorrow. Peace.